My name is Jason Altschuler. I am the founder and CEO of My Electric Home. We are people and pet-friendly electrical energy solutions for a healthier home and planet. That's kind of our trademark. But most importantly, we're a one-stop shop for people that want to kind of go on that electrification journey. Back in the day, I kind of realized that there really wasn't one company that you could go to that would help navigate all the different things between like tax credits and rebates and all these other things and questions, how do I do this? And so I formed the company, and it's been about 3.5 years, and we've grown quite a bit every year. I was figuring out what summer jobs I could do to help kind of pay my way through college, and came across some opportunities kind of in the construction field, and then also met up with a master plumber that was looking for kind of some good, hard-working students that could help with his business, and started working for this gentleman, master plumber, Cy Wagner, great guy, and we just kind of hit it off, and I got excited about kind of doing the work and learning the trades, and I thought kind of like that might be kind of good to have something to fall back on. And I can tell you over the years, like I fixed a lot of things in my house that are plumbing related, so it's good to have that experience and get some like hands-on with the trades. There was definitely pressure about navigating the trades in college. So I came from a very well-educated family, and so the expectation is that you are going to go to college. Even though I had really formed a great bond with this master plumber, and not only was I helping manage like balancing the books and helping with like literally the physical installations, but when it was time to go back to school, it was that summer job or whatever, and so I had to go back to college. But it's kind of cool how it's like I've circled back, or I've kind of come back to the trades now, but having, I think, both sets of experience has really been extremely beneficial. I was formerly the Chief Operations Officer for Heather Gardens, which is a retirement community set on 200 acres. I realized that kind of the connection with doing like with your hands work and really connecting with all the employees that were doing the hard work, the day-to-day, versus just kind of being behind the desk and crunching numbers was something that I got excited about. And then I knew that by starting my own business, I could focus on this electrification cause. It was serendipitous in my kind of my career path over the years that allowed me to be able to start and successfully navigate and run a business, and also uplift a bunch of the trades. When you work with all these different trades and you're helping sell the jobs, and you're able to create kind of like a good career path and actually good earnings for many different people. So for example, I probably work with 30 different individuals that are different like subcontractors. They thank me. They're like, thanks to My Electric Home, we literally are getting like 30, 40, 50% of our business. So they're growing as a result of my efforts. And that makes me feel good, right? I feel like I created a company, I've created additional jobs, additional work. We're filling a need for services that kind of were lacking, where there wasn't like this one-stop shop for home electrification. And it's just, that's the rewarding part. So there's a lot of different skill sets that you can get when you start in the trades, and there's a lot of interaction that you get with sometimes like with the customers, with the other trades, because not all trades like work just in a little silo. And so especially like if you're building a home, right, there's going to be the carpentry framers and the plumbers and the electricians and then the roofers, and so there's a lot going on. I would say that what I learned was that you need to find a way to be able to communicate with each and every person and respect each and all of those different trades. there's there's some funny little side jokes that happen about there's like this hierarchy of like, like a master electrician and then a plumber and then and you just have to really treat all the trades with respect. Having that apprenticeship, which, the advantage of like a licensed apprenticeship program, right, is there's going to be some structure to kind of that pathway. Because for a while I was going to college, I thought, all right, well, maybe I will start my own plumbing business, or I'll go work for this master plumber, learn more, and then start my own business down the future. But there's different paths and criteria, right? So for like an electrician, you can register and become an electrical apprentice, and then eventually work your way up to journeyman, or become a licensed residential wireman, and then eventually become a master electrician. And so depending on the path and the amount of time and what you want to achieve, you can actually make pretty good money all along the way in any of those different paths. The most would be if you become a master electrician and then you actually have your own electrical contractor's license in the state of Colorado that comes with being a master electrician, which means you can then hire journeymen and residential wiremen, and then also have apprentices that work under them because they all work under you as the master electrician. So to kind of demystify the fact that everything is perceived that it's extremely physical or that's really hard work, there is some physical work involved. But I love how you also asked about like problem solving. So for example, like if you're doing a panel replacement, right? So if somebody has an old electrical panel and you're replacing it and you've got all these different circuits, I mean, you have to be methodical in labeling and taking notes of what like all these different circuits were. You have to think through about, okay, as we put these breakers back and maybe they're adding additional equipment, and then there's all these different codes about this breaker equals this size of wire based on the amount of electrical load that the appliance requires. So there's also a lot of, like thinking through, confirming, checking. And then I would say that as far as like the physical part, I mean, maybe a panel weighs 30, 40, 50 pounds. So there's a little bit to kind of like lift it up. But, if there's two people, if you have an apprentice or a helper, it's not as strenuous if you're sharing the work. Specific classes that you could have in high school. Sometimes there's like shop class, or you can get exposed to some of the different trades. There's also some really good trade schools. There's maybe two different paths, right? With college, it's going to be a 4-year commitment. It's going to be expensive. You can try a couple different things. Well, with the trades, depending on which trades you choose, right? It could be something that you can actually be an apprenticeship and then actually be working and getting paid. And so maybe 4 years later, you're at a journeyman level, or maybe a residential wireman where you're a licensed electrician, and you may not have all the debts from if you go the college path, because you might say, great, I've graduated, but now I owe $80,000 on student loans. And the person in the trades might be like, wow, that's funny because I actually make $80,000 a year now as a licensed electrician. And so, but it will boil down to, do you like working with your hands? Do you like working with people? And sometimes that's where like you could go into like commercial electrification, where you're on a big job site and you're not engaged with actual individual customers, right? It might be just the foreman or a general contractor. But if you go into, like residential electrician work, you're going to have a little bit more interaction with customers. And that's where like soft skills will be important, and knowing how to interact with others. And then those are also skill sets that you might learn in college as well, right? As you're doing class projects together, working on group projects. So it's something that I feel like everybody should try or test. So I feel like the best way to do that is maybe if you're like going down that college path, maybe work in the trades over the summers, right? That's where you can go, be an apprentice for a while, go work for a plumber, go work for an electrician, go work for an HVAC technician, right? Go work for an HVAC company. There's a lot of cool new technology that's coming out, that there's kind of that cross-pollination, that you might have that skill sets that you need from college, but then you'll also have those skill sets from the trades. This is a really good time for students to consider being in the trades for a couple different reasons. So artificial intelligence is kind of changing the game for a lot of these other entry-level positions where the computer is able to problem solve and do things that might take away some of these jobs for some of the people that are going down this college path. I don't know of an AI that knows how to change out electrical panel. I don't know an AI that knows how to swap out, pull out an old AC condenser and put in a brand new heat pump, or, do the work that the trades do. If you have that passion, and once you know and you can lock in on something and give it 110%, you will be successful. So just have confidence in yourself.